Good evening. Hi, my name is Angela Mahon, and I am a singer-songwriter. And I thought I would just do a couple of videos in a series about things that relate to songwriting. So, many of you not know, but I am a singer first and a songwriter as well. And I'm also a musician. Myself and my husband established a cultural school of music in 2009. So we celebrate 10 years this year. So my whole life revolves around music, but primarily my thing is singing, and I love to songwrite as well. And so I've got a few people to write down a few questions about songwriting, especially for those of you who are singers and who are interested in getting into songwriting. And I thought I'd just answer those questions in this series. So the first question was, with song ideas, do you decide in advance what to write about, or is it inspiration? So with song ideas, is it inspiration, or do I decide in advance what to write about? It's a bit of both, really. Say, for example, if I go to the most recent song that I wrote, it was called It's Christmas Eve. Now, with that song, I started back in October. I put a Facebook post up and I asked people to tell me what their favorite song is about Christmas. And I got a lot of people giving me back names of songs like Oh Holy Night, Silent Night, songs that really told the story about Christmas. And a lot of people were saying, if you're going to write a song about Christmas, it's got to tell the story of Christmas time. So with that, I had the theme. I was going to write a story about Christmas time. So then I took a few pages and I wrote down ideas and I wrote out the story and what was important about the story and just put my take on it, what I was going to find important about telling this story about Christmas time. And I was developing the idea of Christmas time. So what it means at Christmas time for me was about family coming home and everyone gathering together. So the opening lines were, it's Christmas Eve, from near and far, they come gathering, gathering, gathering home. So that's how the opening came into it. And later on in the chorus then, I have, it sings, open your heart, say that you care. And that came from a couple of conversations I heard during the week of Christmas. So you can see how late I actually wrote this song. It was the week before Christmas time leading up to it, and I was in town doing some Christmas shopping, and I overheard this conversation between two ladies where one lady said to the other, answering a question, well, I don't care. Like, I don't care about him. And later on, I heard another couple of people talking about, well, it's not my problem, so why should I care? And I just, a little light bulb went on in my mind, and I thought, you know what, that's it, nail on the head. Christmas time is about caring. It really is. And that's where that line comes in, and say that you care when the heavens laid everything bare. And that's how that line came out, and that became the chorus of it. So I had a verse and then a pre-chorus, and the pre-chorus was 2,000 years, it was just leading up into the chorus. And then I put in a second verse with the hope of putting in a third verse next year, where I will develop it and release that song. So that's just answering your idea. That question about with song ideas, do you decide in advance what to write about, or is it inspiration? Well, I had decided in advance that I was going to write a Christmas song, and I wanted it to be sort of a Christmas carol song because I'm very much involved in the church, in the church choir, and involved with lots of different Christmas gigs around the place. So it would have suited me to write a song of this type. And then you can see that from my own work that I was doing on it, in developing the theme of it, the inspiration came for the main message of my song was like, in Christmas time, it's a time when we show that we care. So I hope that answers that question. And the next question was, where do your melodies come from? Well, I mentioned already that I'm a singer. And because I'm a singer, I've sang melodies for so many years. Like, say if one of my children were not able to sleep, I would just make up a lullaby on the spot and just sing it to them, and maybe developing it from a lower range to a middle range, going up into a higher range. Just knowing how to develop a song helps the melody now come quite naturally. So yeah, I developed the lyrics first. And so I have a theme, maybe a bit of inspiration, the lyrics develop, and then I usually start reading it and singing it and getting a rhythm for it and a feel of it. And then the melody will usually come to me by sort of a little bit of structuring, knowing that I'm probably going to lift up the chorus to maybe be at the higher pitch and keep the melody starting a little bit lower, which naturally is what I do anyway when I sing. So the melodies come from my own inspiration and from my own twigging and tweeting in my own mind about it and just singing it out. So I usually would have the lyrics and then the melody written before I would go and write any accompaniment to it or put any chords down. In fact, this time I didn't put any chords down for It's Christmas Eve. I gave it to my husband 2 nights before Christmas Eve and asked him, or maybe it was 3 nights, and asked him to write an arrangement for it. And he's quite good at writing arrangements as well, so he put down the arrangement for that. So that's where my melodies come from. The next person asked me, do you get nervous? I guess this is relating to the singing. Yes, of course I get nervous, but because I have the experience of performing in public for so many years now, I'm able to rely on my technique and my skill with my singing and rely on my performance ability and use my nerves as energy into that. It's natural to get nervous, and nerves are needed for the energy that you need going onto stage or going onto the platform to perform, or even singing in church, up at the ambo. You need that adrenaline. So nerves are good and they're necessary. And it's just knowing how to use them, and through experience, knowing that you're okay with the nerves. You can still sit back and rely on your skill, and you will get through it. So that's to answer your question about nerves. And then I was asked, is being a singer-songwriter hard work? It's work that I absolutely love doing. If I didn't have 5 children, I would spend my 24 hours doing it. At times, maybe if I'm tired myself, it can feel like hard work. But outside of that, because it's something I love doing and something I feel that I was naturally sort of talented, and if I could say learned my skills in that area, and that I've worked hard on over the years because of these elements, I don't find it hard work. Maybe the hours I put in are long and hard, but the work itself, I don't find it hard. And then finally, I was asked, what's your favorite song? One that you've written yourself, and the second one's written by someone else. So my favorite song that I've written myself is probably Struck Down by Grace. It probably marks that change in my life when suddenly I realized, you know what? I've just got to sing, and I've got to be a songwriter. That's just what I was, what I was meant to do in my life, because it's what comes naturally and easy for me to do. So, and I love it. It sort of tells that story of where I was in my life at that moment, and, tumbling, twisting, suddenly sickness, crumbling down all the streets in my life. Physically painful, afflicted, affected, spiraling words like a surgical knife. Then I was struck down by grace. Then I was struck down by grace. Suddenly I knew I was never alone. And that song goes on like that. I actually do have it up on my channel there, but yeah, that was a great song for me to write. It was sort of it was quite a personal song, because it was reflecting something myself that I had gone through, about 20 years ago. So yeah, I enjoyed doing that song, enjoyed putting it together as well. And it's probably my favorite song of my own music, and a song written by someone else. Well, I always loved Summertime, and I just love it because you can just do so much with it. You can sing it classical, you can sing it jazzy, you can sing it with a swing. And it just always goes down well. Everybody knows summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. See, so you can do a lot of improvisation over the song as well, and it's just so easy to pull that one out of your pocket as well. So that's probably my own favorite song. So those were 5 questions that I was asked in the last few weeks, when I asked a few people, what question would you ask me as a singer-songwriter? And I've answered them now in the hope of helping others that are interested in singing and songwriting and how to develop their ideas. So just to recap then, that songs, like Rhythm of the Little Sea was a song that came to me in one quick sweep motion, and that hasn't happened to me since, or ever before that. Songs usually take time to develop, all the time while I'm thinking about the ideas. They're working away in my mind. I have my phone, which I have notes on, and which I have a voice recorder on, and a few other things, which I write down my ideas all the time, and maybe a conversation that might have hit me, or a word that might have hit me. I'll put them all into folders, and when I go to develop the song, I'll write it all out in my pages, and I'll try and pull it all together in different parts, and to tell the story that I want to tell within that song. Like at the moment, I'm working on 3 songs to go towards my EP, Towards the Light. So with that, I'm sort of writing them all the time. They're in my mind. And then eventually it'll come to a week or two beforehand where I'll write them out. And the melody is something that comes to me very easily. I'm sort of lucky with that. It's the lyrics that I always have to work on that little bit more. And that's why I love it. Sometimes people might give me poetry. Feel free to give me lyrics of verses, or feel free to give me ideas, and I can develop them. I love getting poems from people where I can just sort of try and put a beat to it and a song to it as well. So I'm going to finish up for now, and just to let you know as well that next week I have a video coming out about singing and getting a good tone on your vocals. So I'm going to answer 5 questions again next week about how to get a good tone on your vocals. So thanks very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
You're so modern.